That's what I'm going to do. And then I'm going to call this regular meeting of Arnprior Town Council to order. It is Monday, November the 24th, 6:30 p.m. Roll call, please.
Councillor Cooper.
Here.
Councillor Toner.
Here.
Councillor Burnett.
Here.
Councillor Cloutier.
Here.
Councillor Strike.
Here.
County Councillor Lynch.
Here.
And Mayor McGee.
Here. I would like to begin by acknowledging that the land on which we work and gather is the traditional unceded territory of the Anishinaabe people. This Algonquin Nation have lived on this land for thousands of years, long before the arrival of the European settlers, and we are grateful to have the opportunity to be present in this territory. If we could do the adoption of the agenda, please.
Be it resolved that the agenda for the regular meeting of council dated Monday, November 24th, 2025 be adopted.
Thank you. Mover and a seconder, please. Councillor Strike, Councillor Burnett, all in favor. Thank you. Disclosures of pecuniary interest. I do have an item to declare, and that is staff report item 12A, as I am an employee at the City of Ottawa. For that item, Councillor Cooper will chair. Any questions from previous? No. That. Adoption of minutes of previous meetings, please.
That the minutes of the regular meeting of council listed under item 7A on the agenda be adopted.
Thank you. Mover and a seconder, please. County Councillor Lynch, Councillor Cloutier, all in favor. Thank you. We have no awards, delegations, or presentations. We have one public meeting, request for noise bylaw exemption.
The council move into a public meeting regarding requests for noise bylaw exemption downtown filming.
Thank you. Mover and a seconder, please. Councillor Cloutier, Councillor Toner, and Alex.
Good evening. So the applicant.
Mike, please.
Thank you. Sorry about that. The applicant, 1D Linta Productions Incorporated, will be filming a portion of Love Is Not the Answer in downtown Arnprior on December 1st and 2nd, 2025. There's a brief description of the film. That will help. There we go. The brief description of the film is here. So their filming schedule, they will be filming on John Street North and Rock Lane East on Monday, December 1st from 4 p.m. to 10 p.m. with equipment removal until 11 p.m. This includes a road closure of Rock Lane between John Street North and Daniel Street North that has been approved by the General Manager of Operations. And an update since I prepared my slideshow, they will not be doing any closure of John Street. Police officers will be on scene if temporary stops are required for gear transportation across John Street. They are also proposing filming near 24 Elgin Street West on Tuesday, December 2nd, 2025 from 4:30 p.m. until 11:30 p.m. with equipment removal until 12:30 a.m. The noise bylaw does not permit this type of noise after 9 p.m. Sunday to Thursday. So a public meeting is being held for the purpose of hearing any comments or concerns from residents or businesses. The applicant delivered notices of the public meeting to all businesses and residents within 50 meters of the filming areas described above. So the requested noise bylaw exemptions, so they have requested an exemption to the noise bylaw for the areas where they are doing filming to allow noise until 11 p.m. on December 1st near Rock Lane and until 12:30 a.m. On December 2nd for the area near Crave in particular, where they're filming that day. So the next steps, council will consider the request for exception to the noise bylaw as part of tonight's council meeting. The bylaw is on tonight's agenda for consideration, and once council has made a decision, that would be communicated to the applicant, and if approved, staff will provide notice of the exemption via social media, just for general information to the public.
Thank you.
So if there are any public comments when addressing the chair, we ask that you please give your name and address for the recording secretary, and if you'd like to speak, please raise your hand.
And is anyone here, are you here to speak to this item, sir?
Yes, I am the location manager for. Oh, sure. Thank you, Alex.
No problem.
Oh, here it is. Oh, come on, have a seat.
Oh,
Here.
geez, okay.
I just turned your mic on.
Thank you. My name's Matt Cassidy, and I'm the locations manager for this production. And I'm just here to make sure that if you had any questions or concerns that we could answer them.
Thanks, Mr. Cassidy. We're thrilled to have you here. Looks like Councillor Toner has a question.
Oh, yes, I would just like to know if a couple, like, are the stars going to be here, or is it going to be secondary? No, I shouldn't say secondary, but
I guess
there's
we're
a
being
couple of big names that are coming.
Yeah, we're being recorded, so I guess I'm going to be careful with how I word things, because we were just currently filming in Carleton Place.
Yes.
And it kind of backfired because the mayor posted the name of the film, and so then people can Google the name of the film, and then they realize there's stars there, so then a lot of extra people showed
Okay.
up today.
I'll retract my question then. How about that?
I appreciate that.
Perfect.
Thanks, Mr. Cassidy. Your secret is safe with us.
Yeah, it's a hard secret to keep, but we would appreciate, we might even take out the name of the film this time in the notice. And we will provide a filming notice for all those people affected by our filming activities, but we might not use the name. Well, I won't say it because we're being recorded.
Councillor Lynch?
Thank you, Mayor. Were you at Ontario East this past September?
Ontario, yes, at the municipal,
Conference?
yes. I wasn't wearing a hat at the time.
No. The excellent presentation, and
Thank you.
the idea was to get our small towns better equipped in the way of bylaws so that things can move a little bit faster.
If I can speak to that, there are, we work with Almont and Carleton Place, and normally we wouldn't have to go through this process, which is a little different. And even in Ottawa, it usually goes through, as you said, a more streamlined route. It kind of ends up at one person being able to say yes or no. Now, I know that that's always a touchy subject for some situations, but we do our best to respect the communities that we're in, because we want to come back. So it's not that we're going into, oh, we got a great shot in Arnprior. Awesome. And we disrupted so many businesses. We do our best not to do that. But yes, it is streamlined in Ottawa, Carleton Place to a certain extent, and also in Elmont.
Thank you. Excuse me, thank you. And just the opportunity to say that with your company out of Ottawa, you've expanded the kilometers, how far you can go without unions.
It's actually the exact opposite of that, sir. The unions have already started to charge us when we even go to Elmont. And when I say charge, I mean they pay the union members a little bit more money to make that travel. So but we make those decisions strategically and in our budgetary constraints. So we do our best to find the best location, and we're willing to pay that extra few kilometers to those union members.
Thank you.
Councillor Cooper?
Thank you. Thank you, Matt, for coming. I really look forward to the many, many amazing shots you're going to get here in Arnprior on subsequent productions, I hope. Just wondering if you could expand kind of what would residents expect for exemptions to this noise bylaw? What kind of noise would they expect to have? You used a really important word there, respect. What kind of measures are you taking to respect
I would,
the
in
residents?
this case, there's nothing. The scenes are not of anything of great distress, so there's no actors screaming or yelling or in fear or running or anything. Probably the loudest thing would be our team saying "rolling" and "cut." That's the pretty much extent of it. And we understand that once we're done filming, there is that period of time where we're loading our trucks. Sometimes that can be a little bit louder, just the thunks and the bangs of the gear going into the trucks, but nothing crazy. Yeah.
Just as a follow-up, the local implications, the local impact for a production like this, do you draw your craft services, for example, from our local businesses, or what can our local businesses expect for an economic impact when a production like yours rolls into town?
That's a great question, and as a location manager, we often try and encourage the productions to interact and work with the local businesses. For example, when we are working with Crave, we're renting their space, we're paying them. The store beside them, Munchies, we're renting their space and paying them. As well, Crave is providing a substantial snack to our crew, so we're paying them an additional amount of money. So there is, mainly it's the rentals that bring in the money, and then also the gasoline purchases, anything that the city might have to charge us for parking. But we sort of come as an entity. So we do have our own in-house caterers. So that's not something that we're able to provide, like hiring a local caterer all the time. But we do our best to try and engage the small businesses in the towns that we work. Yeah.
Now, you mentioned the city of Ottawa. I know whenever there's a noise bylaw exemption, as an example, you would fill out your forms, you would go there, and it is at the discretion of the ward councillor. They do give the authority to do so. Do we have the opportunity to provide that same delegated authority for something like this to help streamline the process?
I guess through the noise bylaw, we would have that, and currently we have to come to you to
For an exemption?
to ask for an exemption, but if there was something we wanted to amend the noise bylaw to state that, I'm sure we could look at the wording to do that.
It might be worth having that discussion. I mean, in the interest of streamlining things, as you mentioned, and rolling out the red carpet, no pun intended, a little bit differently. But
Yeah. To that point, I was caught off guard as the location manager when I gained the knowledge that it was 9 p.m. Because normally we work we try to work between 7 a.m. and 11 p.m. And then after 11 p.m., that's when we would be requesting a bylaw exemption, which was, that's just a learning point for me. But we do our best, as I said earlier, to respect the residents, the small businesses, because really you become our producing partners. Because if we upset you, then we're not welcome back the next time. And then I lose my job because, no, that's not pressure, but I'm just saying if I'm not respecting the people around where we're filming, it doesn't last very long, that relationship.
no, you want to keep your reputation intact
Yeah,
as much as
yeah.
anything, of course. No, appreciate the time, and so all in favor? None are opposed? Thank you very much for
Thank
your
you very
time.
much. Appreciate that.
So we need to move out of a public meeting.
The council resumed to the regular meeting of council.
Thank you. Mover and seconder, please. Councillor Toner, County Councillor Lynch, all in favor? That's great. Thank you. We have no matters tabled, deferred, nor unfinished business, no notices of motion, and we move into staff reports, and I'm going to hand the first item over to Councillor Cooper.
The council repealed bylaw 709120, automatic aid agreement, and authorized bylaw a new automatic aid agreement with the city of Ottawa.
Perfect. Can I have a mover and seconder, please? Councillor Cluche, Councillor Burnett. Welcome, Chief. Hello. Good evening, councillors. Tonight, I'm here to discuss an agreement that has been in place for quite some time, well over 30 years, with the City of Ottawa. And in discussion with Councillor Burnett earlier, proceeded with agreements with the Township of West Carleton at the time as well. For that period of time, we have, through an automatic aid agreement with the city, provided fire protection services to a dedicated area of the city, and have received a nominal fee for doing so on an annual basis. In 2018, that fee was increased to $10,000 and remains that as of this year. In discussions with Fire Administration with the City of Ottawa recently, they didn't seem to want to continue paying for the services of the automatic aid agreement based on the number of calls that we actually respond to within the city. They didn't seem it was very cost effective for us to do so. So in the automatic aid agreement, both departments are responding. We get we're providing what is called the initial first response, and their responders do respond as well. And first on scene starts the process, and then Ottawa being the home city, they come in, they take over. Command is terminated, or command is transferred, sorry, to the city crew that's responded, and then Arnprior returns back to the town of Arnprior as quickly as possible to continue protection of our own community. So in discussions, the administration, chief of City of Ottawa also wanted to offer to the town of Arnprior specialized rescue services. These are services that we, with the new certifications in place, NFPA certifications, there are certain things that we are both not equipped or trained to perform. Those being technical rope rescue, confined space rescue, trench rescue, grain or silo rescues, and heavy machinery rescues. So the idea was that he could provide these services to us at a cost, and many other municipalities around the City of Ottawa have signed on to this agreement for them to provide services to them. We were able to negotiate that we would continue with the automatic aid agreement, but only for structure fires. We currently do automatic aid for both motor vehicle collisions and anything fire related, basically. The brunt of the calls that we do respond to are for motor vehicle collisions. We're averaging about 7 calls a year, and all of them are for auto extrication. I look back in as far back as I could look, and I only see 4 times where we've responded for a structure fire in the last 30 years. And in those cases, as I said, we respond first, and Ottawa does come in, and then they take over the situation, and we return home. So with regards to, is this a good deal for us? This is kind of like an insurance policy with regards to the specialty rescue services that they're providing. We don't have, like I said, we don't have the resources or the training to perform these types of rescues that they would have in their arsenal of staff and training. So it's important to us to be able to, if one of these situations should happen, to be able to say we have something in place, a plan in place to mitigate the risk or mitigate the situation should it occur. From a technical rope rescue perspective, we're getting more elevators, and we have our firefighters are trained in elevator rescue. But if it came to a situation where we physically we're only trained to deal with in the car. If it came to a situation where we had to make entry into the elevator shaft or something to make a rescue, we're not trained to do that, nor do we have the equipment to do it. City of Ottawa does have that. Confined space rescue, same type thing. They have all the proper equipment and the training to do it. Water rescue is included in it. We do our own water rescue, but we're currently only training to do surface water and ice water rescue. They're also trained in swift water rescue, so it's an added feature, an added service that we have coverage for if needed in the situation. And as I said, it's only, so basically the way it would work is we will continue to provide first response, but only for structure fires. So we will no longer be running out onto the highway beyond our own borders for motor vehicle collisions, which is the main reason we're called currently. And we will not receive the payments that we were for an annual basis. But in turn, we have this plan in place that if we ever need one of these specialty services, and the fees for those specialty services are quite astronomical, actually, on an hourly rate when they send a full team of with their equipment to do the rescues. So it's kind of like, as I said, it's like having an insurance policy that if we have it, it's here to use. And in this case, there will be no charge back to us if we needed those services. Whereas all other municipalities that I'm told that we're the only ones that this was offered to, and as a reciprocating, all other municipalities have this type of contract with the city. Whereas if they do need the services,
Ottawa does provide the service, however, they get the bill and they pay back the rate that is charged. So there are 3 services that are also provided by the city that are covered under the Provincial Emergency Operations Center, that being hazmat, structural collapse, and urban search and rescue. But the rest of them on the list are not covered by the Provincial Emergency Operations Center. So if there's any questions, I'd be happy to.
County Councillor Lynch.
Thank you, Chair. Rick, is there a set time, like how many years will this, is it a yearly basis, or are we gonna go for 5 years, or?
It's, the current contract is for 3 years.
Okay.
With an additional, like an option to go on an annual basis afterwards. And that was a recommendation that we look at this again in 3 years and see if we're getting called a lot more than we have been in the past. Then we would certainly have to look at it again or opt out of it altogether. But yeah, it's a 3-year with.
Follow.
Supplemental chairs, when we're losing the highway calls, do we not get money from someone when we attend the fire?
Not under these responses, because Ottawa is the host city, so they claim it, and they're already paying us to provide the service through the annual contract. So we do not receive any monies back from MTO on any calls within the city boundary, only within Arnprior.
Thank you.
Councillor Burnett.
Yeah, thanks, Rick, for the presentation. I'm not so sure that some of the areas that this really applies to Arnprior, you know, like
Absolutely, I understand.
silos and
Yeah,
different
well,
things like that.
If you think of, however, we do have one industry in town that does have silos within their manufacturing process. I did think of that as well, but and even machinery rescue, I totally agree with that. But it's all grouped into one package through the contract. So the technical rope rescue, the confined space, and the trench rescue. Any of those things could happen at any time with construction going on, and we had a company here working on painting the water tower a few years ago, hanging off the side of it. If something would have happened there at that time, we really had nothing in place at the time to make a rescue in those situations. So it's been something that I think it's a good, like I said, it's good to have that in place if something does happen. It's kind of a cover your butt type thing. Yeah, I don't disagree with the fact that the number of times that this is going to happen is pretty slim. But there again, if you look at the history of the number of times we responded for actual structure fires into the city is limited as well. So, and it is just a first response. Will it, even the auto extrication now, or calls on the highway, is it affecting our own staffing? Well, absolutely, because we're sending a crew or possibly 2 out to the highway to respond to these incidences. But again, it's only if we have, it's in the contract. If we don't have the resources or the people to do it, you're kind of not held to do it. It's if you have the staff and the manpower to do it at the time of the incident that occurs. If we don't, then we just notify them, sorry, we can't because of the current staffing situation, so.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, I understand what you're saying. I'm just thinking of the town the way it is today, and losing that extrication part. It's the response time that they are going to respond. Arnprior could be there if it happens just out off of the new highway.
I totally don't
You
disagree
know,
with you.
and it could be a resident of Arnprior, and
And that was not a decision of
you know.
mine. That was a decision of the city. They didn't want it. They wanted to stop the automatic aid agreement totally between the 2 municipalities for all services. They're finding that their response on the highway is just as quick as ours is. When
not true.
I'm
Not to this area,
unless
it's changed.
I know timing wise when trucks come on scene, we're usually getting there at the same time. I can't say who's being called first, but I know when when trucks are arriving on scene, that there's not much difference in time. And I totally understand what you're saying with regards to if someone's in an incident, and who knows, based on the borders and the way dispatches come out, we're probably gonna get called anyways. And that's what I said to the chief, we'll sort it out at the end, but at the end of the day, they did not want to continue paying us the $10,000 for the services that we're providing now.
They have lots of money, they should pay it.
Yeah, I don't disagree, but
I just have a quick question for the treasurer. Does this change our insurance? I know there's some insurance requirements in there. Does it change our premiums? Have we had to change anything with insurance to meet that requirement?
No, we sent the policy through to our insurance and they reviewed it from a risk management perspective, and all the coverages we have in place right now are fine to meet the compliance to the agreement.
Okay, all in favor? All opposed? One opposed. No, I'm not opposed. Councillor Burnett's opposed. Thank you. And Chief, you're back up.
Yes,
I'll pass
I
the
am.
chair back over to Mayor McGee.
okay. Hi. So thank you again. Sorry,
So
sorry.
moving on to item B, the RFP for fire dispatch, please.
The council award the request for proposal FD 2025-01 for dispatch and communication services to the City of Brockville Fire Department, and that the mayor and clerk be authorized to execute a contract with Brockville Fire Department for dispatch and communication services for the period of January 1st, 2026 to December 31st, 2028, with the option to extend for a 2-year period.
Thank you. Mover and seconder for that, please. Councillor Cooper, Councillor Burnett. Welcome, Chief.
Hi there. Hello. Thank you once again. Basically, council, we have a request for proposal for Fire Department 2025-01 for dispatch communication services be awarded to the City of Brockville. So just a little history. As you're aware, in 2019, we did switch from the dispatch services that we have to that of Brockville. And it was a 5-year contract with the potential of a 2-year extension on that contract. That contract is coming due at the end of the year. So as per procurement policy, we went out for RFP. And in that process, we had 2 submissions. We had nine companies picked up packages from the RFP. So the RFP went out as per policy through the MERCs and as well as online. And we had 9 pickup. We had 2 submissions, one being from the City of Aurelia and one being from the City of Brockville. So we reviewed the proposal submission from City of Brockville Fire Department and the City of Aurelia and completed an evaluation process as set out in the proposal documents. Proposals were found to either meet or exceeded the minimum technical requirements as set out in the proposal. And the financial proposal as well, his final scoring was as follows, there before you. So at the end of the day, Brockville is the best option for us, to continue with Brockville. Aurelia did come in a little cheaper on some aspects, but because there is a setup fee involved to switch over from one to the other, Brockville is the better alternative for us. So our recommendation is to continue with Brockville and award the RFP to the City of Brockville to continue as we have.
Thank you, Chief. Any questions for the Chief on this issue? No? All in favor?
Perfect.
Those opposed? Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, item C, planning applications update, please.
The council receives report number 2511-2403, planning applications update as information.
Thank you. Mover and a seconder, please. Councillor Lind, Councillor Cloutier. Hi again, Alex.
Good evening. So given the volume of new development applications and planning increased the town of Arnprior is seeing, staff wanted to bring council more regular updates on open applications and recently closed applications. So the intention is to bring an update report to council moving forward quarterly. This report is intended just to provide council with some information on the planning work completed or currently underway in our town. Because not all of it comes to council, or some of it comes to council months down the road when it comes to subdivisions. So the planning department has had a busy 2025 to date with 48 applications received. This number is below the final number of applications for 2024, but above the total for 2023. So we received 2 official plan amendment applications, 10 zoning bylaw amendment applications, 6 minor variances, 3 site plan control applications, 8 consent applications, 1 part law control, and 18 zoning compliance requests. So I've attached an appendix to the report, a kind of description of each type of application, as well as a list of those applications, so you can see what the application was about, how many units it's creating, whether they're residential units or non-residential units, as well as the status of the application. The table above, summarizing the number of applications received, doesn't include subdivisions because the County of Renfrew is the approval authority, so they receive the applications. They also span multiple years and oftentimes have multiple phases, and they move fairly slowly. So I did include a table in the appendix of the current active subdivision applications, but kind of including them in a summary table of the number of applications received is kind of challenging because, again, we might receive an application and then be dealing with that subdivision for, like in the case of Marshall's Bay Meadows, for example, that one's kind of been going on for a long time. So it's kind of misleading when you're like, oh, we've got no new subdivision applications, but we've been dealing with some of those applications kind of in one form or another for a really long time. So in addition to the planning applications, staff do kind of work on policy initiatives as much as we can. Obviously, planning applications have timelines under the Planning Act in most cases, so they tend to take priority. But we are working on a private roads official plan amendment and zoning bylaw amendment, and a new site plan control bylaw, because the one that we are working with, I think, is from the 1980s, and is not reflective of many of the changes to the Planning Act and the provincial policy statement, or provincial planning statement now, that have occurred in the past couple of years. So we just want to bring that up to date. We've also been working hard to keep informed on and make changes to processes and reviews based on changes to the Planning Act and the provincial planning statement. That in itself is a challenge because those bills just keep coming. So we've had 3 bills that affect the Planning Act in the last year. The latest one, Bill 60, was just passed very recently. The other thing that we're dealing with in 2025 is that the Community Services Department was without a market student or a marketing and economic development officer for the end of the summer season. We just kind of had a gap between the end of our summer student, the end of our acting MEDO, and our full-time permanent MEDO coming back from mat leave. So that was from mid-August to the start of October. This left myself, the manager of community services / planner, doing a lot more economic development and Sunday market planning and hosting than I would normally do. So this did affect kind of how applications got processed and rolled out, just because obviously you can't coordinate vendors for a Sunday market after the Sunday has happened. So you kind of have to jump on it to make sure that vendors are there, they're present, and the public can be there. So there's a lot of information in the tables. I'm not going to run through each and every one, but if anyone has any questions about particular projects or particular tables or applications, feel free to let me know.
Thank you, Alex. I am thrilled with this. I so appreciate the time that this must have taken, and I just want you to know how much I appreciate the work in this. Any questions for Alex? Thank you so much. Looking forward to the ongoing reports. All in favor of that? Thank you. Okay, now we've got the biannual financial update, please.
The council received report number 2511-2404 as information.
Thank you. Mover and seconder for that, please. Councillor Cooper, Councillor Strike. Jennifer.
Thank you, Mayor McGee, members of council. I'm here tonight for the biannual financial update. So a bit of background. So again, as per the procedural bylaw, it does say that the treasurer will provide council with that biannual financial report. And the intent of the report is really to provide council with a clear picture of the town's financial status and to identify any financial matters of concern and update council on progress or any improvements made to date on finance-related initiatives. So to touch base a little bit on the 2025 operating budget, the numbers included in the report run all the way to the end of October 31st, 2025. Right now we are sitting at about 94% of our budgeted revenues have been received, and about 87% of our budgeted expenditures. So you can see the comparison to 2024. So we're pretty close this time of year, sitting where we need to be. To give a little bit more data into some of the revenues and some of the expenses, I included some highlights in the report. So one thing we are watching is our supplemental tax revenues are quite lower than anticipated this year. We are seeing a bit of a slowdown in growth, and what that's going to happen is that's going to mean that you have less properties coming onto the taxation roll, and that's going to affect future years like 2026. You're going to see less. The roll will be less coming through, and then you'll have less taxation revenues coming in future years because of that. So we're keeping an eye on that, but so far growth has been pretty slow for supplemental revenues. We're watching our water and wastewater revenues. Right now we're actually on target that we are going to come in at our budgeted values for those, so that's good news for that. On the recreation side, our event revenues for recreation, they were higher than anticipated, so they brought in some quite good revenues this year. And we did have an estimation in there for our Nick Smith Center, the program revenues of where it would land with the facility closure, so we are slightly lower than what we'd anticipated there with the closure, but that was a very high level estimate we made at the time. So that piece. And then on building and planning, so building permits are higher right now than budgeted, and that's really due to one of the large apartment complexes came through on the permit side. And then our planning revenues, Alex just spoke to a lot of the applications coming through, so we do have a high volume of planning and development applications, which resulted in higher revenues on the planning department as well. When we look at expenses, right now our winter control, we're currently about 88% expended of our budget. 2024 was a lot lighter. We were only sitting at about 50% at this point, but fingers crossed for the end of the year that we don't get too many more storms. When we looked at the summer, so let's take our parks and our cemeteries. It was quite a wet summer. The grass really did grow. We did have some additional lawn maintenance and mowing required, so we did have some you'll see higher labor and equipment expenses coming through on some of those cost centers. And then Nick Smith Center building. So while I said we had lower revenues, but we also are seeing lower expenses. So with the closure of the facility during the construction process, we saw expenses are a little lower for the building. And we also, because we proceeded with the loan later in the year than I had predicted how many number of loan payments, we're seeing savings kind of there as well because we did it later in the year than anticipated. So you'll see those in the variance figures as well. When we look at capital, I included a table in here that for the 2025 projects of the status of them. Out of all the projects, we've had significant progress on getting a lot of those projects done or very close to the stage of completion. So there, we have at least over 49 kind of projects in the works. We have about 20 current from 2025, 24 from prior years, and 5 new ones came on board this year. Touching base on some other financial items, I always kind of give an update on the tax sale process. Currently, we do have 8 properties registered with tax arrear certificates that are continuing through the process. So until those properties are brought into good standing or they would become eligible for tax sale. So we're tracking those through the process right now. Also touching a bit on policy, similar to what Alex brought forward, there was a lot of bills came through with changes to the development charges. So I did include in the report for council some highlights of some of those changes from the bills and how they come into effect when will be affecting our DC revenues in the future. So most notable, there were a lot of changes, but I just kind of touched base on kind of going to say the most notable right now was one, that the payment of development charges for non-rental residential developments are now going to be due at occupancy as opposed to building permit issuance. So that means we'll be getting our DC revenues a lot later in that building process than what we had in the past for residential developments. Also, it removed the authority of municipalities to charge interest on legislated development charge deferrals. So that process of obtaining that interest is now removed as well. Some other financial items I included in the report. Just I gave a quick little update on the 2026 budget preparation process under the mayoral decision, an update on that. And then also I gave the listing of procurements made under delegated authority, and I've given my investment statement of compliance for council. And with that, I'd open it for any questions.
Thank you, Jennifer. Any questions? Councillor Cooper?
Thank you. Jennifer, just with the supplemental being down for 2026, would you project then we'll see a rebound 2027 when those builds come online, when our growth picks up again? We have a lot of stuff in the works, so would we see that money coming later on down the line?
Great question. I really think some of those large apartment development complexes, I think once they get occupied and they get onto the roll, I think you're going to see a bit of an upswing there for that. Those I think will be your most impactful.
Councillor Lynch?
Thank you, Mayor. Jennifer, when you go back to the complex, does every unit have to be rented or just one before the DC kicks in?
Sorry, can you say that again?
So we have the apartments with 16 apartments and
Yeah.
the person moves in on the third floor, one apartment. Does that mean all the development charges get kicked in at that point or just when it's full occupancy?
Oh, I believe it's when the building services department provides the development occupancy. So
Okay.
I think our building services department has to issue their, is it a certificate, an occupancy certificate, for that, and then that's what triggers occupancy for the whole thing.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, thank you.
Thank you for this. Not exciting news going into 26 that we were hoping for, but as Councillor Cooper noted, hopefully we'll be able to plan for a bit of a rebound, especially helpful is Alex's report from tonight as well, looking at what is online and what might be coming online, especially tying it in together. So thank you, Jennifer. All in favor? Great, none are opposed. Okay, and then council and committee meeting calendar, please.
The council approved the attached 2026 calendar of council and committee meetings.
Thank you. Mover and seconder for that, please. Councillor Cooper, Councillor Burnett, and I imagine Kayla, you're taking this one?
It will be me taking this. Caitlin helped me prepare the calendar and the report, so thank you to her. So just to give a little bit of background, every year council meeting dates are defined in advance to provide notice to the public, and it's as outlined in our procedure bylaw. Regular council meetings are generally held on the second and fourth Mondays of each month at 6:30 p.m., with the exception of July, August, and December, when meetings are held once per month. If a regularly scheduled meeting date falls on a holiday, the meeting automatically takes place on the next business day, which is normally a Tuesday. In each year, the clerk's office provides council with a report setting out the proposed calendar of meetings for the upcoming year, as well as any proposed exceptions to the regularly scheduled council and advisory committee meetings that staff are recommending. From an advisory committee meeting perspective for 2026, looking at our advisory committee terms of reference, it outlines that all advisory committee meetings would take place, they would meet monthly between March and November of each year, with the exception of July and August. And it is recommended that advisory committee meetings not be scheduled for September to November of 2026 due to the municipal election being on October 26th. So we would be meeting with our advisory committees between the dates of March and June. Due to the, also for proposed exceptions that we have for 2026, due to the municipal election scheduled for October 26, 2026, there will be no council meetings scheduled for the fourth Monday of October and the second Monday of November. The fourth Monday of November will be the inaugural meeting of the newly elected council through the 2026 municipal election process. The proposed calendar of meetings does not propose any exceptions due to municipal conferences, as they do not conflict with the regularly scheduled meeting dates as outlined within. And we did put some listing of the conference dates for council's information. And upon approval by council, the 2026 meeting calendar will be posted on the town's website. And if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Any questions on the calendar next year? No. All in favor? None are opposed. Thank you. Committee reports and minutes. I do not have my report with me, so we'll move straight to the county councillor's report, please.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a reminder that Taste of the Valley is on December 13th, the holiday edition at the Knights of Columbus in Pembroke. We had delegation from the 12th of November was Bruce, excuse me, Bruce Oates, Plants Manager from Pembroke MDF Roseburg. The resolutions carried at council was 4 of them. County Council directs staff to establish formal data sharing agreements with local municipalities, the City of Pembroke, and Algonquins of Pequawkanon to support coordinated GIS data management. The council support the proposed Golden Lake Power LP biomass cogeneration project through advocacy and staff time where required in recognition of project's economic, environmental, and regional significance to the county of Renfrew. Don't know what happened to my voice. Council endorsed legislation specific to mining operation that adopts to one PIP approach to regulatory approvals. Cobden has some mining, that the warden write a letter expressing strong support for Roseburg Forest products. Our county meeting this Wednesday will include the Warden Awards. Our men's shed is being recognized as the winner of the category of not-for-profit organization. A presentation by EGIS Transportation Planner on the County Master Transportation Plan. And marked down the 3rd and 4th of June 2026, the Association of Ontario Road Supervisors is hosting a public trade show that will be held in the Civic Center in Petawawa. Thank you.
Thank you, County Councilor Lynch. I hope your voice, you got some candy there, you good? Have we had any meetings to discuss, any updates? No? Councilor Toner?
Not so much meetings, but I'll say this now as opposed to announcements, but this past Saturday, the Arnprior McNabb Braeside Archives had their volunteer showcase, and from 10 to 1 o'clock. And by the time I left at 12:30 approximately, there was like well over 100 guests that came. And there were some pretty distinguished visitors, one being Leslie Weir, who is the archivist and the head librarian for Canada. She visited, and she had nothing but high praise for such a small community archives and how professional the operation is. She toured the vault. She looked at all the volunteer showcases, and yeah, she was like really impressed with everything. She was also really impressed with the archivist that we have, Janice, and her presentation in Barcelona at the International Archives Conference. When I spoke to her, she said usually this is just for larger cities who have archives, and she said Janice's presentation was well received, and it caught the awe of all the participants there, that such like a small town has such like a fantastic archives full of volunteers, so which was the focus of her presentation. So she was blown away by the archives that we have, so that was really nice coming from the head archivist of Canada. A couple other people that came, one, get my glasses, Dustin Bullock, he had a contingency there from Rideau Lakes. He's a counselor, and they were looking to kind of amalgamate some of their historical groups. You know, they have a lot of historical societies, like some archives and a museums. They were trying to maybe find a way to merge them all together. Anyway, they looked, and once again, nothing but high praise for the archives. And they also gave kudos to the Arnprior Council for supporting historical societies such as our museum and the archives. So, yeah, he was very thankful for that. And also MPP Billy Deno, he came at around noon, and he was shown around by our president, Sarah Mackenzie. So that was a pretty well-attended day, and lots of high praise for the archives and the volunteers. So yeah, on behalf of the Archives Board, I just want to thank the town council and staff, like, for their ongoing support. And I think, yeah, they'll be here on December doing their presentation. Yeah, so they look forward to speaking with us. And just an update, I know I was away last council meeting, but the environmental committee, we're near completion of the Wildlife Federation, the wildflower meadow that we did by the marina. There's still some of the plugs will be coming in the spring, and we'll be planting them by hand with some volunteers. But once again, Sullivan's, they came through and they were able to strip those to site at no charge. Town staff took the excess sod away, and some high school students came and planted all the seeds. Yeah, so that was a nice community like event, and we got lots of groups together, and we look forward to seeing the progress of this wildflower meadow. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Toner. I think we all look forward to seeing the meadow. So that's it for committee reports, correspondence and petitions. If we could have the information package, please.
That the correspondence package number I, 25 November 20, be received as information and filed accordingly.
Thank you. Mover and seconder for that, please. Councillor Strike, Councillor Cooper. Any comments on the information package? Councillor Lynch.
Well, here we're trying it again. Page 18, good news for veterans of the Canadian Armed Forces. The Ontario government is investing $575K to turn their skills learned in the military into post-secondary credits. Unfortunately, there's no university in the Ottawa area. Page 24, Ontario government is offering $38K for pothole prevention and repair program to municipalities under 10,000. Deadline 12 December to the CAO. Are we considering applying for this program?
Yes, Councillor Lynch. We actually got word from the General Manager of Operations this afternoon that we have in fact made our application. We are eligible, as you said, for about $35K in costs to assist us with our pothole prevention and repair program. The application was very simple, and we're hopeful that we will hear from them shortly.
With tongue in cheek, well, we won't ask residents to make application for their street. On page 39, attention parents, the Ontario government is requiring all school boards to establish student and family support offices so parents and guardians have a clear, effective way to help regarding their children's education and find solutions. On page 45, this is killing me. Ontario government is investing $32 million to expand access to specialized mental health services for the first responders and public safety personnel, which includes health, fire, and police services. Of note, only the County of Renfrew is on health list and the town of Petawawa for fire. No police in our area. On page 52, the Ontario government is now accepting applications for the second round of the sport hosting program until 12 January 2026. To the CEO, are we making an application for this program?
Thank you for that. I did reach out to the Director of Recreation, who informed that the sport hosting program really looks to support national and provincial level events. And we don't have anything planned in the first couple of quarters of 2026 that would be applicable to this, but we will continue to keep an eye out for opportunities that might fit the bill.
Thank you. On page 79, thinking of running for next year's election, the AIM was offering a local democracy solution bank, which includes a catalog of existing resources. And there's a number of them. On page 163, the federal government advises that the Canada Summer Jobs application is open, closing the 11th of December 2025. Employers for not-for-profit organizations, the public sector, the private sector, and with fewer or less employees Will we taking advantage of that somehow? Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
Of course. Any other comments on the, Councillor Cloutier? Yes?
So I just wanted to, on page 121, Ottawa Valley Affordable Housing Inc., newly formed not-for-profit here in the Valley, has sent this letter in. They close it with saying that we would be happy to meet with us to discuss the possibilities. I just wonder if we should not make sure, I'm sure they understand, but to maybe invite them to request a delegation to come in and maybe more formally tell us about what they're doing, because they are working to help develop affordable housing in the Ottawa Valley. So if there's anything Arnprior can do to help, I think that it would be important, especially with everything we've done over the last few years to help support this initiative.
We can definitely send them an invitation to come as a delegation.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Is that it for comments on the information package? All in favor? Thank you. And the action package, please.
That correspondence package number A25, November 12, be received and the recommendations be brought forward for council's consideration.
Thank you. Mover and a seconder, please. Councillor Cloutier, Councillor Burnett. All in favor? Thank you. Okay, bylaws and resolutions, if we could do them separately, please, the bylaws.
Yes. That the following bylaw be and is hereby enacted and passed. Bylaw 763825, noise bylaw exemption, downtown filming.
Okay, mover and seconder for that. Councillor Cloutier, Councillor Toner, all in favor? Great, thank you. On procedure, Madam Clerk,
We'll just have you step away
Okay.
and have Councillor Cooper call for the next
Okay.
bylaw.
Excellent. Do you need to read the bylaw itself?
Yep.
Okay,
That the
thank you.
following bylaw be and is hereby enacted and passed. Bylaw number 763925, automatic aid agreement.
Excellent. Can I have a mover and seconder, County Councillor Lynch, Councillor Cloutier? All in favor? Opposed? Carried.
thanks, Councillor Cooper. And resolutions, please.
Sorry, just one second. Municipal grant request for Arnprior Cares. That Council of the Corporation of the Town of Arnprior received the municipal grant request from Arnprior Cares, whereas Arnprior Cares is an eligible organization under the municipal grants policy and supports the community by sponsoring refugees, providing financial and practical support to refugee families, and facilitating integration of newcomers into the local community. Therefore, be it resolved, the council approve the request for waiving the museum rental fees, approximately $150 plus HST, for the Arnprior Cares holiday event to be held on November 25th, 2025. And further, that Arnprior Cares be advised it is mandatory to carry sufficient liability insurance and have the town of Arnprior added as an additional insured for the event.
Thank you. Mover and seconder, please. Councillor Cloutier, County Councillor Lynch, all in favor? Great, thank you. Moving along to announcements. Councillor Cooper.
Thank you, Mayor McGee. I just wanted to issue some congratulations to our Arnprior McNabb Ringette Association Devils, who had a very strong showing at the Nepean Ravens Invitational Tournament. I think there was 4 or 5 teams that were part of the tournament, and there will be some new banners going up at the Nick Smith Center with some first place finishes. There's also tons of memories made, whether there was medals or not. I think we brought home 2 golds, a silver, and a 3rd place finish. Very, very strong teams this year in the ringette world. And on that note, this weekend, if you've never checked out Ringette, it's a good time to stop by the Nick Smith Center. The AMRA Devils are hosting their annual tournament. It begins Thursday morning, 10 o'clock. I will be there. And it's running straight through the weekend. There's a ton of volunteers that go into making this tournament. We're going to have guests from outside of town joining. It's a very, very interesting sport, as our treasurer will agree. The championship round is going to be on Sunday. So if you're going to pick up a game, time to come and watch, come on Sunday. It's going to be a really, really good time. And the girls would love to have you show up as well. And that's it for my announcements. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Cooper. Other announcements? No?
The parade is on Saturday, just to remind everyone, to be out till Just a reminder, the Arnprior Parades, Saturday starts at 6 from Rexall. Look for our float.
Thank you, County Councillor Lynch. All right, so we do have one closed session item. If we can move into closed, please.
The council move into closed session regarding one matter pursuant to section 239-2B of the Municipal Act 2001 as amended to discuss a personal matter about an identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees, a staff matter.
Thank you. Mover and seconder. Councillor Cloutier, Councillor Cooper, all in favor. Great, thank you. Thank you. We need a motion to move back into open session, please.
Council resumed to open session at 7:54 PM.
Thank you. Mover and a seconder, Counselor Cooper, Counselor Strike, all in favor? That's great, thank you.
And that council direct the CEO to proceed as directed in closed session.
Mover and a seconder for that, please. County Councilor Lynch, Counselor Cloutier, all in favor? Great, thank you. And now we need a confirmatory bylaw, please.
That bylaw number 764025, being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the regular meeting of council held on November 24th, 2025, be and is hereby approved.
Thank you. Mover and a seconder for that, please. County Councilor Lynch, Counselor Burnett, all in favor? Great. And adjournment, please.
This council meeting be adjourned at 7:54 PM.
Counselor Cloutier, Counselor Cooper, all in favor? Thank you.